Welcome to the PharmaSource podcast. In today's episode, I speak to Dechra Pharmaceuticals' new head of procurement, Kateryna Holovnia, about the procurement transformation currently underway at the international veterinary pharmaceuticals company. We talk about what's involved with unifying category management across a large and complex matrix of stakeholders, and we discuss the strengths that women bring to procurement and leadership in general. But first, this episode is sponsored by Olon, empowering access to affordable healthcare. Olon is a leading international generic API supplier with a portfolio of over 300 APIs and more than 450 drug master files. They're a proven pioneer in generic API supply and market leadership, making a global impact. Find out more at olonspar.com. Kateryna, great to have you join us today.
Yeah, thank you for an invite. Appreciate it.
Of course. I think a great place for us to start the conversation would be about your background in pharma and how you got into it, please.
I'm a scientist on my first background. So I'm a chemist. I was doing all this PhD research and, different patents as well. So absolutely different. But after that, I decided on a certain stage that I'm not interested to work in the lab. I don't really can make all these experiments, they're not the same as they should be on paper. So I made the decision that I need to change and go to business. And it was pretty occasional because I was looking just for a big company, to join the big company. And when I was trying to be the assistant of one of the directors in there, they told me that there was the procurement role and just suggested me to try. So actually it was Carlsberg company, and it was indirect procurement with all the spare parts, with the equipment for the manufacturing side. And after that, I decided, to pick it up. So I stopped my PhD studies completely. And I moved to the business. So actually I started the international economic affairs. After that, there was all the Henley courses for procurement, for negotiation.
I noticed from your LinkedIn profile, there's a lot of continuing education through your career, and you're a member of SIPs as well, Henley negotiation.
Warwick, Master of Business Operations, not administration, but operations.
How important is that to you to continue education?
It is, it just keeps you somehow energized all the time. So you're on top of what's going on, but also this is the access to the peers. So you have access to the other industries, you have access to the peers of the same industry, but who are on different levels. So this is the sort of network. So you're creating the network. You're getting all these best practices from the leading companies worldwide. So I find it is really needed, and especially for SIPs in our procurement stuff. This is like language. So this is like we are studying one and the same language in order to do procurement in the company, because after that we can talk absolutely normally about all the category management, stakeholder management, contracting, risk mitigation, and we know the basics, we know the stuff. So it is very crucial. But right now I stopped. Let's say a few years back, 2 or 3 years back, I decided, all right, I stopped with my education in the university. But right now I'm doing all this education, let's say experience, through gaining experience with my team and leading the team. So it's a little bit different, but very challenging and interesting.
You've recently stepped up within Dechra.
Yeah, within Dechra.
Responsibilities for APIs and excipients and moving into a head of procurement role. How have you found that transition?
Exciting. It is the word to describe the whole. With my experience, because I was working for this global, as we used to call them, global monster, global agrochemical company, where all the processes, all the procedures, they're just written down. They know how it should work. So they have special departments in order to elaborate them, to adjust them for the business needs so that they create the biggest value. So, and you just need to follow it. At certain level, you absorb all this knowledge, you know how to do it, but at the same time, you don't have big flexibility. You cannot challenge the ways of working. Let's say there is a lot of bureaucracy in place, and
Mhm.
you get to this point that you have the skills, you have the knowledge, you would like to implement something, but you cannot really, you're just following. So it was with my move from Syngenta to Dechra, and actually Dechra, it is like a soil, which is really perceptive to all the changes, to the information, to the transformation. And I started there in order to introduce these best practices, which were, in the global companies, and
Mm.
also due to all this network that I had as well.
When you started introducing these best practices,
Yeah.
did you start off doing that within manufacturing?
I moved as the category manager, category buyer for the APIs, and also looking after excipients globally. And it was for the in-house procurement. So Dechra is organized that we have 9 manufacturing sites in-house globally. These are ours, and we do have about 70 different CMOs. So this is the external network. And the procurement team, we are mainly oriented on 100% of our business is of course going through direct procurement within the company. And for the external, we're just bringing all this transparency, and we select on the criticality of this or that materials, if it should be under our control, or we can allow our CDMO to be self-sufficient with this.
That's a large network you've got there of contract manufacturers. How much management does it need to optimize that network?
Yeah, well, we do have, a different department who is our external network department. They are organizing. The majority of our CDMOs, they're self-sufficient, and we're just controlling. We are firefighting when it is needed, and usually this is just the procurement daily work to resolve different force majeures or different situations that happen. Yeah, but in general, as all the global companies, we are right now integrating our systems, integrating our platforms, bringing all this visibility where we can consolidate, where we overlap, for example, our in-house manufacturing with our CDMO, what we can leverage, what we can do better, just to get the sort of access, like one-click information. And this what keeps us busy from the technology and process transformation right now in Dechra.
And so has that involved new technologies? Have you had to bring in new vendors and new ways of working to do that?
Not really new vendors. We are continuing. We are the company that is oriented on the long-term relationship with the supplier. Well, there is a lot of benefits about it, right? And we look into we do the segmentation of our vendors, and we understand what are the strategic and who are the ones that we can develop, a critical one, and how we can manage them. So actually this is going from the fragmented procurement to more consolidated with less vendors, but more business with them, so that we are building more trust, more partnership, more reliability. And this is this is really two-way relationship, because we help them to grow business. They help us to grow our business as well. They bring the innovation, they share it with us. So we do have a lot of cooperation with our product development teams as well, so that any raw material, any API that is coming to the market, our suppliers, they're ready to share. Like this is something that can go through, and how we can apply it. Yeah, this is really the partnership.
How have you found that, moving from a more transactional relationship with partners, a smaller group of strategic partners? Did you have any targets in mind for how many suppliers you had previously and where you wanted to get to, what you wanted that relationship to look like?
Yeah, this is what we started with, exactly with the direct procurement. We understood what are our key performance indicators, and we're keeping them in mind for the whole function, what we can do, and the status as it was analyzed, and where we would like to go. And we just created the transformation map, how we can do it year by year. So it was, let's say, for a 3-year plan, and what we can do. We had it in mind, and actually when we were doing our segmentation of suppliers, we involved a lot of different stakeholders to see what is even how they deliver, how responsive they are, what is their innovation capability, what is their communication style, what is their worldwide presence, because we are located in every single continent. And especially for us, it is critical to cover the European region, to cover our US region as well. So yeah, there were a lot of different criteria, and also it was the readiness of supplier to collaborate, not only positioning of our supplier to our interest, like how we see them, but also how they see Dechra. And because we were very much fragmented, so we had a lot of different suppliers with small business. But after that, when we did the huge analysis, like what we are buying, where we are buying from, how we can consolidate, it appeared that we can grow business with certain ones and we can become more interesting for them. So we do have more favorable terms from them. So yeah, it was the analysis of different factors. And now we do have these strategic suppliers who are ready to work, who see our pipeline as well. They know our target. They know what is our competitive advantage so that they can cascade, because actually this is the objective for the whole supply chain, right? Or this is the value that we should bring to the customer. And after that, we translated how we can deliver this value through the supply chain and what procurement can do. And then all of these objectives, they're just cascaded to our suppliers. So it was also a lot of communication, how they can deliver it, what they should deliver in general, and how we can track this delivery. And yeah, this is how it works today.
Because Dechra is a company that's had a number of acquisitions over the last few years. Is that why the supplier base was so fragmented and different pockets?
Exactly. We recently have acquired. It was in the news, I think it was last year, we acquired 2 manufacturing sites in the US. One will be our R&D basis, and the other one is producing the finished goods that are really matching our portfolio. They're just complementing the whole pipeline, the whole portfolio of Dechra. And yes, because these companies, they were pretty independent, it required all this harmonization, all the unification in place. And it is absolutely normal, it is absolutely fair that they were working with their local suppliers, with their local demand. And that's why it was crucial to have this global category management in place, so that all the visibility is in place, like helicopter view of what's going on and what are the opportunities regionally.
So internally then, how many stakeholders would you say that you have to operate and bring along on this transformation journey with you?
Well, I think that procurement is really, we moved somehow from the transactional function, right, in about 10 or 15 years, to more business partnering function, because we're involved right now in the very beginning of any new product introduction, in any product development, like understanding where we can get this molecule from, who can synthesize this molecule for us, and so on. So yeah, that's why we have this huge number of stakeholders, and we are working with our product development, supporting them with all this innovation, with the sustainable sources, with picking up the correct source from the very beginning, and also setting up risk mitigation from the very early stage. We do work with our supply chain, and this is obvious because this is our task, to enable continuity of supply, not to have any disruptions, so that any disruption in the supply of raw material, it will cause the back order, it will cause loss of sales, and so on. This is like a chain. An end-to-end process. We work a lot with our regulatory people because we're in highly regulated industry, pharmaceutical. We do have quality people who are controlling the quality of all the incoming goods, of release the goods, and any changes, they are also coordinated with them. We work with our logistics department. So we do have our planning department, the part of supply chain as well. We do have a number of stakeholders, and also we're working with our manufacturing and technology team who are supporting us. We support them in order to run the manufacturing smoothly. And at the same time, if we are to set up any alternative for the company, they're helping us out how to adjust manufacturing process to this alternative if it is needed. So I would say that we have people of about 5, 6 different departments. Sometimes marketing is also involved, and not sometimes, marketing is also our customer, because they want to change the tube, they want to change the packaging type, they want to add different label, leaflet for sales as well. And we do consider our local procurement people being also our stakeholders, like this is one and the same function, but still.
But it sounds like you're right at the center of this great big matrix of all sorts of different people. You're driving the global central sort of transformation efforts. You've got regional procurement people, very, very many different business leaders. How do you manage that? I mean, yourself, and what advice would you have for others who have this really complicated matrix of all sorts of different stakeholders?
I'm the person who is putting everything on paper. I think that it helps a lot, to be honest. I'm doing just proper mapping. So I'm doing the value chain mapping, what I need to deliver. And after that, making it how I can deliver and drawing the route and understanding who should be involved at every single stage and how can I make the change really going smoothly, like what should be done in there. And after that, I'm just setting up like the who should be involved and is it going, what is the proper way of stakeholder management in this case? Should it be some frequency meetings? Should it be just coffee chat and so on? And we have everything set up. So to be honest, we do have for our function, we do have a special calendar, with all our tasks, when we are doing what, and what are the meetings we're having, and how we engage different departments, because we are building the trust right now. And we are having this trust as well from the product development, because, well, we are here to show that we are not all the time to save money, but we are to support them. We are to bring the product which gives more value, which is I don't know, different qualities, but at the same time, it improves the quality of our finished good, or it just makes production really going well, and easier, so that we don't have any losses at all. So yeah, we are building this trust, and usually this is due to meetings. We do have a lot of meetings with our stakeholders, a lot of communication. So even if we are to see any project that is to come, we share the details beforehand. We assess the possibility of this project and feasibility of this project. And instead of like the question, if it can be done or if it cannot be done, we ask the question, what should we do in order to implement it, in order to enable it? We are listening a lot from our stakeholders. We try to make their opinions they are our customers, and customers needs to be happy and at the same time aligned to the value of business.
Absolutely. How does procurement feed in to the budget process then in that kind of context? I mean, is it the business lines that come through with their proposed budget?
Yeah, as all the procurement, because our department, we are the direct procurement, we do have also the category manager for CAPEX, a global one, but in general, as all the direct procurement, we are budgeting, we are supporting the budgeting process. We are to deliver those raw materials and packaging that will impact the finished goods, the cost of goods, their price, and actually this is our entrance to the market. Yeah, we do our budget, and it is a little bit, it's not a little bit, it's just the same, it's similar, but it's a little bit different from the timelines perspective, because we are doing it early year to cover the financial year, and this is how the prices are fixed for the next year.
When you're building your plans and you're going through supplier consolidation, how important is diversity in terms of supplier diversity?
Well, if you mean from the regional perspective, they're located, it is important for us because we We don't tend to put all the eggs in one and the same basket. So we are going for all this avoidance of risks and how we can prevent them to happen. So actually we try to dual source all the time to cover our risks, and also to bring our supplies in different regions. So if we have, for example, the Chinese manufacturer for this API, we will do our best to set up the same manufacturer of the, not the same, sorry, the manufacturer of the same API, but it should be in somewhere in European region, for example, if they're delivering within Europe, or it should be in the US region if it is delivering for the US. Like we are balancing our risks. And at the same time, we do have our global and regional suppliers, as long as we have local suppliers, because it also depends on their proximity to the site, their warehouse, their safety stocks, if they're covering, and their lead times. So we do have really the balance of the regional type, of the manufacturing type, and also from the size of the supplier. Especially for the small molecules or for the API molecules. There are a lot of small laboratories who are developing this, but they're really innovative. And there are huge companies as well who have their molecules in their own pipeline, and we don't have that much power, let's say, to change their pipeline. So if, for example, the task is to quickly introduce some molecule to the market, we most likely will go to the small CDMO in order to synthesize this molecule, because they are more flexible. So that's why, we do have this range of different suppliers.
Yeah. In our Women in Procurement group this week, someone shared it's a really interesting article from Harvard Business Review, where it was saying
I was reading this article, by the way.
Yeah, really, really interesting. So it was based on independent research, based on lots of 360 feedbacks. It was basically showing that statistically, women seem to over-index men, according to this study, in all sorts of areas which are traditional, leadership values around boldness, resilience, strategic thinking, all of these sorts of areas, which begs the question why women aren't represented more often in leadership roles.
Yeah, I was reading a little bit about all this, what's going on with the gender presence in different leadership roles. And it looks like, I think it was 5 years ago, that only 7 women, they were running companies in the UK, if it's FTSE 100, only 7 of them. I think it is much more right now. So I didn't manage to find the figures, but still. Or, there was also the overview. I think that in this Fortune 500 in the US, there are only 44 companies with women CEOs, and this is like rocket high. This is the biggest number that was ever in there. Yeah, so I believe that definitely women, they are not that much represented in the leadership roles, though I can't say it about Dechra, because Dechra is right now on the border of FTSE 100, and last year when I started heading the global procurement, it was FTSE 100. So women are good in all these transformational changes, and I believe that Dechra sees it really. And yeah, I was thinking about what can be the blocker, why it is happening like that. And actually, there are a few things that come into my mind. And also, there are the people that are saying, first of all, that there is the sort of stereotypes, but we are to overcome them. The second thing is really role model, because of this historical type, women, they didn't have a lot of role models that women can be the leaders. We don't have a lot to visualize on this. So that's why we are following a little bit different model. There was also the third one, like family circumstances or family responsibilities that women are having. So this is the fact that women are usually paying 3 times more attention to their kids, doing much more job at home and so on. So that's why they're really more loaded, more, not overloaded, but they have much bigger workload at home, and how they balance all these career and business trips with their family as well. But yeah, as we discussed before, I really liked this Sheryl Sandberg statement, and she was the CEO of Facebook. She just said that women, they underestimate themselves. Women are, and also Jordan Peterson, he was saying that women are too agreeable, so they agree too much on different things.
So those are two thinkers from completely different ends of the political spectrum.
Yeah, like to different people and saying two different things. But yeah, what I really liked in Ted's speech of Sheryl Sandberg, she said that men, they attribute success all the time to themselves, while women attribute their success to different external circumstances. So it should have been team, it should have been just luck, it should have been just coincidence or something like that. They don't really put the success on themselves, while men, they would say, oh no, I'm just awesome, like I just believe it. Nothing else could happen. Yeah, so probably this is also the fact that women, they just don't speak up, they don't ask, they don't raise their hand, sometimes they agree sometimes on different things. They're a little bit cautious about the competition, they need, and once they start doing it, once they start raising their hands, once they start sign them in different projects and prove themselves, so I think that the confidence is just building and building up. And yeah, we have a lot to show. Even this article on from Harvard Business Review, it showed a lot, like a lot of competences, right? The women are pretty good, well, better.
Very good,
And
yeah.
I'm not saying that we are better. I came to the point at one stage that we are really, with our capabilities, we're just complementing each other. So it is the well-known fact that if you have this different genders, like this inclusion in the team, it will raise innovation in the team. It will raise creativity in the team. Change of rules sometimes. So there are just different leadership qualities, and we can bring them as well.
What are some examples of the types of positive qualities that women could bring to the procurement role, which is different to that of men?
Yeah, there are a few. I think this is the way how we negotiate as well. Women. There was the Caliper study by one of the. They are consulting company, I think, the US consulting company, and they did this study in 2015. They were observing 85 women senior leaders for a year in order to identify what are these leadership qualities they have, what are the similarities, and also what we are bringing indeed. And they say that women, they're more persuasive. So we do have this ability to buy in, to show the whole benefit that we can gain from this or that idea, this or that decision. And we also persuade in the other way. So when we find this huge wall that we cannot overcome, we don't fight, we stop the fighting, but we're just trying to change the attitude with the approach. All right, I'll show you. Like let's do and see, or I will show you how it can be done, and we will see the result out of it. So we are more like experimenting with all these things. And sometimes people, because especially our stake, well, sometimes it works in the negotiations as well. Let's give it a try, and after that we return to this PDCA cycle. We will analyze if it doesn't work, right? So we will replan it, and it works a lot. Like it helps in the different agreements with the suppliers. The other leadership quality as well, it was for the team building. So the leadership style is slightly different, and we are building more family feeling teams. So we do have this inclusivity, and also how we solve problems. So we are actually open to the opinions of all the team members in order to create the best decision, to make the best decision, working for, well, I can't say that everything should work for the majority, right? But we can hear. So you cannot please everyone. You need to follow the one the same decision, but still we are integrating these opinions. We hear, we listen to why every single person thinks it should be done like that. What is the background? What is the main reason for that? And what is really interesting, they found out that women, they more tend to break the rules.
Oh,
So
really?
they take, yeah, they take the risks, they are eager to take the risks. They don't follow the rules all the time. They want to experiment something different and they break the rules. And here is the innovation coming to this. Yeah, so these are the things. It was really interesting. But to be honest, when I was reading all this, and after that I decided to put it like to compare it with the reality, it is the fact that is really ongoing. So we women are good in transformation projects, are good in crisis management, and mainly due to these 4 leadership skills.
Those types of skills that you're talking about there around innovation and risk taking, being consultative, listening, bringing people along with you. How have you used those as part of the transformation journey that you've been on to bring together all of these different people on your journey?
Yeah, in Dechra, I feel a lot of support. I feel that I still have this hard artillery in trousers if I need something. If I need any further support, really tough one. But indeed, it is building all this team, because when we set up the category management structure from the very beginning, the idea is to bring the specialists. They should be professionals because they need to create the whole category strategy with this only common visibility, and understanding of the historical background as well. They need to be good team players because they need to support and they need to be motivated all the time. So they need to drive, and you need to show them these wins. So it brings their energy up again to deliver more and more.
So important, isn't it, to get hearts and minds to actually buy into something?
Yeah, exactly. And this is all the time done by small bits. You're not going through the whole journey as well. It was somewhere, I think, in one of my leadership courses somewhere, we were told that men, they're more oriented on this long-term project, not like they have long-term objective, let's say for 5 years. And women, they're more tactical, so they actually split this whole objective for 5 years in small pieces, and they adjust how to deliver it so that after that you receive one and the whole big one. Yeah, so I think this is also the question, how we buy in, how we keep people energized, motivated, engaged in the whole process.
Yeah, really interesting. All right, Kateryna, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Luke. Yeah, thanks a lot. It was really a nice conversation. Made me read a lot of different things.
Good. Well, I got a lot from it too. Thank you. Thanks to Kateryna for her time, and a big thank you to Olon for sponsoring this episode. Olon are empowering access to affordable healthcare. They're a proven pioneer in generic API supply and market leadership. Find out more at olonspar.com. Thank you for listening.